Yo, I see a lot of discussion about AAA games in the modern day, and for the most part, I understand. I understand exactly where they're coming from, and I understand that sentiment to the fullest. But I want to, in this video, challenge the idea that we are completely hopeless or doomed. Let's get into this. Now, before I can mention the hope that still glistens and lies in the AAA game space, I have to mention the actual garbage AAA games we've gotten, like Halo Infinite. God, it's a tragedy with how mishandled this game was, because honestly, I look forward to this game's release, like others, and thought it would be solid, but they kept cutting corners with things that should have been in the base game. And if you've seen my last video, you know how I feel about cut content from a game, and then to just pawn content that should have been in the base game off to later. And if you hadn't, go watch that video. Go watch that and come back to this. Back on topic. The game was an underbaked product, in my opinion. An actual okay story. Shame its online is heavily underdeveloped. But hey, at least you have a battle pass. Hey, we love battle passes to grind for hours, but that's another topic. Other AAA games like Cyberpunk that were a mess, but are now getting on the right foot, which is good, but it's incredibly disappointing that games can release with the confidence to not have a full product, because they know they have consumers and they're so big that at this point, they're not going to fail. And they know you're a sucker enough that you will buy it. And I'm a part of that problem as well. Pokemon is a great example. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which released extremely buggy and runs like poop, and the game is made by $1 billion company. Things were fixed, but they patched the games later. Alright, they patched the games later. This thought process is not helpful or good for the consumer and leaves the consumer feeling extremely exhausted from the market, since this is what it feels like. Tradition at this point, but the future isn't completely hopeless. A AAA game is supposed to be something huge and a big spectacle, unique and disruptive for the industry, on something trailblazing that introduces new or repurposed something previous before and redefines it to its fullest. At least that's what a AAA game means to me. While not every game is going to be a hit or masterpiece from the AAA industry, which I don't think it should be. I don't think every game would be a masterpiece. We wouldn't be able to recognize them if they were. Which is why you just should play indie games, because they're the real underbelly of gaming with more promise due to them having to try harder. But, and this is a Ice Spice level of but, there are still games that AAA status, they live up to it. They live up to the prestige. Games like Elden Ring, able to redefine difficulty like usual Soul games and create a fresh new exciting world with a lustrous story to dive into that I personally don't fully grasp with such depth in its combat systems, unless you're a filthy mage user. Alright, click off this video right now. God of War Ragnarok, following up God of War 2018 and doing everything that it did, and added the paint that that 2018 was missing from the portrait in the second game, as well as an entirely new weapons, which is incredibly fun. Alright, Draupnir, I love it. I love playing with Draupnir. It actually is super duper fun. And a cast of characters that are emotionally gripping, and a great story that tackles the ideas of letting go and attachment to fate and predestined stories. Tears of the Kingdom pulling a mechanic from its grave and recontextualizing a Hyrule from Breath of the Wild, which already did so much in the way for open world games in its genre. I say all this to say there's still hope for this industry. We have games like Starfield that I have great belief that it can be an immaculate game, especially after watching its direct, and other games like Spider-Man 2, which will likely remake and nearly perfect what the first two games built off of. There is still promise here. It's tougher to find, to an extent. We have to take, the good with the bad, and vice versa. If every game was a masterpiece, we wouldn't be able to perfectly pinpoint a masterpiece. They come few and far between. Now, that is not to excuse lazy business actions or cutting content to release it at a later date, or just being entirely consumer unfriendly. But I believe that this industry still does have things to look forward to, like Starfield. Play Starfield. I really hope that this video does not age poorly. I really hope that Starfield is a good game. But we'll see. thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you all later. See ya. Also, real quick, broaden your horizons, alright? This video should, like, AAA games should be a wake-up call to just play indie games more. They have to work harder, they have to try harder, they have to impress you, because they don't have a base default that they can easily fall off onto and be like, okay, we're good, we're rich. They have to prove to you, okay, this is what we have, this is what we want to show you. Please play our game. So try those. All right. But other than that, see it.